The spine is a vital part of the horse's body. The most vital part is the brain, and the brain lives in a bony box, very well protected. The spine carries the main nerve cord, which runs down here. The spine itself runs down here. Many people think it runs up there. It doesn't. It runs down here and changes angle there, and then comes up about like that. The nerve cord inside the spine pushes out nerves which supply the rest of the body sensation and movement instruction. The vital spinal cord is protected by an inbuilt mechanism which, if it is threatened by damage to the spine, the muscles which support and control the spine go into protection mode. They tighten up, and in doing so they're more easily stimulated into tension. The muscles themselves, these muscles are nice and soft, as they should be, but the intention of this mechanism is to support and control the spinal cord itself. Now, very often the cause of the problem lies a long way away from where the actual problem is, because the problem which occurs is due to a failure of the joints between two vertebrae to function properly. We imagined a joint, just imagine that's a smooth joint. It has a normal amount of sideways movement right there. That is normal for it. But if for one reason or another, I'll explain in a moment why, that has a little bit more ability to move, it goes to the extremity of its movement, and there it locks. And that locking up persuades the inbuilt mechanism I've described to cause tension in all the muscles that support the spine. But each particular area of abnormality of the joints, area of the spine, will produce a differential type of tension of the muscles. What I'm doing here with these horses is to correct the position of the joints. And when the position of the joints is corrected, instantly, with the speed of electricity in fact, the muscles relax.
This is a 6-year-old ex-racehorse. It never actually ran on the track. It was in training and was considered too slow. It's now with me to produce into a hunter. The horse is fine in its movement and in its jump, but when we ask it to flex, we find there's a problem.
On feeling this back, there's a little bit of tension on the right hand side. There's no reaction on the left hand side, but it's not as soft as I would like it to be. Let's just see what the trot looks like. If the problem is in front, it's usually quite easy to see. But where the problem is behind, it's much easier to rely on your ears rather than your eyes. And one can hear the irregularity of the stride. Remembering, of course, that what you're hearing in trot is the diagonal, one foreleg and the diagonal hind leg, and not a pure sound related to one or the other. But the majority of horses with this type of trouble, the problem shows in the footfall of the hind leg. When you're using your ears, it's clear which leg is taking the most weight. And that is what one wants to listen for, because it's the other leg that's at fault. We have to get the weight evenly taken on the hind legs and not just in the wrong. There we are, try that. Now there's not a great deal of difference, and feeling these you'd think, well, this horse is reasonably all right. But there are changes in the neck which will affect the back. This is where the head might swing over a bit fast. He's pretty unresponsive as this chap. He's not greatly worried about himself, which is a good thing. But it makes it rather more difficult to determine exactly what's wrong. Now then, let's put one or two things right. I'll just move the I'm just moving the upper vertebra there, the first of the ones that will move. No, he won't move, will he? This feels better. Mind, he may turn around to bite. I'm pushing jolly hard. Now that feels much softer and much happier. So let's see what we can see in the trot. Not quite level. Once more. Right side. Okay. There may be something else slight there. Let's try. Okay, try that again. Many horses with this type of thing, just like human beings, get headaches. I'm sure they do. They behave as though they've got headaches. And it relieves the headache. And you suddenly find that a horse that's difficult to manage suddenly becomes an old cow, easy to manage. So hopefully you'll get an improvement.
Is there an easy way for an owner or a trainer to identify that their horse has a back problem?
Yes, and it works most times. All you do is to put your hand into the back, never mind whether you think the condition may be. You're using the back as your rough guide. That's why it's called a back problem. And what you do is you press. There's a way of pressing. And that is done by, you see, if you have peculiar joints that'll do that, it helps. When you want to press, you don't jab like that, because very often you get a reaction anyway if you do that. What you do is gradually increase the pressure. And now I'm putting a lot of pressure onto that now. And we're pleased to say that there's no reaction at all. It doesn't work every time. You can have, and what will happen, the horse will do that. Say, oh, I don't like that. Now, you've got to be careful that you don't misinterpret what you're feeling simply because the horse doesn't like what you're doing. Well, it gets used to the feel of a horse, but for the average owner, poke the back like that. Now what I'm doing, I'm not actually poking, I'm gradually increasing the pressure, but rather quickly, so that the beginning of that movement is less pressure than the depths of it. It's quite a long time since I came across a horse that hadn't got a problem. I still find a high number have got spinal problems of one sort or another. They may not be very serious ones, but they're there.